Okay, so we're going to talk about TikTok today, but probably not in the way you're thinking. Yeah, we've all heard about the dopamine hits and the endless scrolling, but what I want to get into is something way more subtle, something that's happening in your brain after you've already put your phone down.
So that's the big question for this whole explainer. What's the real lasting effect of all this short form content? Not while you're watching, but long after. It's not about the minutes you spend on the app. It's about how those minutes change you for all the other hours of your day. All right, so let's break it down. How exactly do these apps start to reshape our brains for everything else we do in life? To really get it, we need to talk about this new term that's been floating around, TikTok brain. It might sound like a meme, but it describes a very real thing. All those negative effects like feeling stressed out, tired, and yeah, that super short attention span that we've all kind of noticed. And that attention span is the main symptom. It's the big one. Our brains literally get rewired to expect new information every 30 seconds. And what happens then? Well, longer things like watching a movie or trying to read a book, they start to feel impossible, almost physically boring. You might even catch yourself reaching for your phone in the middle of a conversation. It's this constant nagging itch for something new, something different right now. And look, this isn't just you feeling a little distracted sometimes. It's actually becoming a recognized syndrome. And the evidence, well, it shows it's getting a whole lot worse. To really understand how bad things are today, we actually have to jump in a time machine and go back a bit. A study from all the way back in 2013 gives us a huge clue. So, the experiment was super simple. Researchers took a bunch of students in a lecture and split them into two groups. Group 1, no phones. At all. Put them away. Group 2 was told to just check their phones every now and then. That's it. They just wanted to see what a tiny little distraction would do. And the results were kind of staggering. The group that stayed off their phones took 62% more notes. 62%. And not just that, they remembered way more of what the professor was actually saying.
Now, here's the kicker. This was in 2013. This was before our brains were professionally trained by these super smart algorithms to have the attention span of a goldfish. If just checking a text was that bad back then, imagine the mental pollution, as the source calls it, that we're dealing with today. It's a different world.
Okay, so if the damage was that clear a decade ago, how much worse is it now? Just how much of our day are we really losing to this stuff? Well, one guy decided to run a little experiment to find out. So he couldn't find any good data for young Arabs, right? So he just did it himself. He threw up a poll on his Instagram story and asked his followers, who were all in that age group, to send him their screen time for short-form video apps. He got about 200 responses, and then he just did the math. And the average that he found? 4 hours. 4 hours. Every single day, just spent scrolling through an endless feed of clips. But here's the really crucial part. When he asked people what they remembered from those 4 hours, from the thousands of videos they just watched, the answer was pretty much always the same. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So let's be really clear what's happening here. This isn't 4 hours of fun and entertainment. It's 4 hours of your day that have just vanished. It's like a black hole in your memory. A chunk of your life that you lived through, but your brain just didn't bother to record. Now, 4 hours a day sounds bad enough, but it gets so much worse when you zoom out and look at the real lifetime cost of that daily habit. Okay, stick with me. Let's just do the math real quick. You start with those 4 hours a day. You multiply that by 365 days a year, and then you multiply that across a pretty normal 60-year span of using these apps, say from age 20 to 80. The grand total is insane. It comes out to 87,600 hours. You know what that is? That's 10 years. 10 years. A full decade of your life gone. The source material has this absolutely killer line. It calls it a coma you choose to enter every day. Wow. A decade of your one and only life spent in a memoryless void? That's a thought that should really stop you in your tracks. So what's the alternative? Do we all have to just give up fun? No, of course not. This isn't about becoming some productivity robot. It's about upgrading your fun. It's about choosing entertainment that actually lasts. I mean, think about it. You basically have two choices. There's forgotten entertainment, the stuff that just passes the time but leaves you feeling kind of empty. And then there's entertainment that creates real, lasting memories, the stuff that enriches your life and becomes a part of who you are. So, what could you do with that stolen decade? I mean, you could watch over 4,000 movies. You could play almost 3,000 video games. You could read 2,000 books. You could spend that time at the gym, or maybe even more importantly, actually building deep, real relationships with your friends and family, making memories that stick. And that's really the whole point. The goal isn't to stop having fun. It's to stop your fun from being forgotten. It's about choosing to build a life that you'll actually remember and cherish. Which really just brings us to one final critical question. The next time your thumb is hovering over that app icon, just pause for 1 second and ask yourself this. Are you ready for 10 years of your life to be stolen?